So far, the story of training camp is Anthony Richardson versus Daniel Jones, right? That's an interesting kind of competition in that these two are teammates at the same time. And really, in that quarterback room, they got to help each other out a little bit, right? While they're competing against each other. Daniel Jones talks about that and where he thinks he stands in that competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously that's up to people way above my pay grade. I think, my job and all of our jobs as players is come out and to work and improve every day. So the timing of it and kind of how that works out is way over my head. I think, obviously you're human. You think about where you are and kind of how it's going, but I think you got to do the best you can to focus kind of on what's right in front of you.
So when you do think about kind of where you're on, how it's going, how would you evaluate just how this started for you in training camp?
Yeah, I mean, I think through the first week, through the first few practices, there's always going to be, a lot of growth and a lot of things you can pick up on, learn from. I think, in this system, going against a new defense, I think all those things you're trying to learn as much as you can, as quickly as you can. So where you are kind of the first couple of days is not, not where you want to be. So I think I've made progress and taken steps. I think the group as a whole has done that. I think last couple of days in pads, I think offensively, it's been good to see, some plays. I think the guys up front are playing at a really high level.
Do you feel yourself getting more comfortable stacking days as camp goes along?
I think so, yeah. I think that's always the challenge. I think certainly, personally you want to do that. I think as a group, you try to do that and build some consistency over time, and that's kind of the process of training camp. I think in any healthy situation where you're learning and growing with each day.
You and Anthony were sprinting, just sprints back and forth together. How does that extra work after practice, help push that competition and, move things along for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously important. I think pretty much, in training camp, pretty much everyone across the league is conditioning. So as quarterbacks, you don't get it as much during practice, but it's important. So, you can call it extra work, but I think that's kind of just what you're supposed to do. And our strength staff, our performance staff does a great job, so they try to keep us going with that.
What's the balance with how does Blues defense kind of challenge you day to day when it comes to different things you might see out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said last time I spoke to you guys, I think it's a great scheme he's got. I think he's got tons of different looks, tons of different pressures, coverages, and kind of mix them up and keep you on your toes as a quarterback. So it's a great system to practice against. You see a lot of tight coverage, challenges receivers, a lot of pressures from different spots. So challenges the quarterback in the protection system, the guys up front, which I think they've done a great job. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great system to go against. I've been really impressed with everything he does.
You and Anthony, obviously both competitors, both won the job. But what's the balance between that and also just like off the field, meeting room, the interaction there? I mean, Shane said that he's observed that going pretty well. How do you guys kind of interact and balance all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been great. I think, like you said, obviously we're both competitors, and when we're out here, we're trying to put our best foot forward, as quarterbacks and play well. But the communication in the meeting room or whatever it is off the field has been great, and I think I've learned a lot from him. I think Cam does a really good job in the room teaching and getting everyone on the same page, making sure we're ready to go for practice. So I think it's been a great room to be a part of.
You are a veteran. You are a veteran, but there's still, I assume, like a pretty big learning curve. You coming here, don't know the offense. You've got to get caught up to a lot of these guys. And how much of a learning curve is there, even though your guys played in the league for a while?
Yeah, I think I think learning the plays and like what they look like on paper, being able to draw them is one thing. I think that's kind of just a product of how much time you're willing to spend and like kind of in the notebook. But I do think there's there's a learning curve as far as seeing it on the field and what exactly it's going to look like, how these guys run it, what kind of adjustments they might make, and then getting used to that and being able to speed up your processing of all that. So yeah, I think in terms of that, I think there's a learning curve when you get into a new system and just getting a sense for that kind of stuff.
There's Daniel Jones, and he kind of gets it. He understands what this is, right? He understands that these guys are going to sure, they got to be supportive with one another, but they got to go head to head too, and to the victor go the spoils, right? So far, Anthony Richardson seems ahead, but that doesn't mean anything because it's July 29th. It's not September 6th. This thing doesn't really have to get settled until that last preseason game's played.